What's going on, folks? It's Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, coming to you for another game day preview. Arkansas gets back into action on the hardwood tonight for a 7 p.m. tip-off against Maryland Eastern Shore at Bud Walton Arena. Streaming only SEC Network Plus game for tonight, and it's the final tune-up here, really, before a tough stretch where you've got three power conference opponents over the course of a 4-game swing, all away from home. So, if you're going to work out any more kinks before things get real, this is probably the night to do it. No pregame press conference to preview this one. In this case, I'm not mad. Last week I was like, what's going on here? Because they played Wednesday and they didn't play again until Monday, and we weren't able to get somebody to preview the game. In this case, like, whatever. I mean, they played Friday night. It was a late game, football on Saturday, and really, I didn't want to have to deal with a press conference on a Sunday anyway, so I'm cool with it. Arkansas, Maryland Eastern Shore. These two teams have met one time in the past. It was a 100-40 Razorback win in Fayetteville back in 2001. And honestly, the final score in this game should be that lopsided again. It probably won't be, just given what we've seen from the Hogs so far. But we'll see how it plays out. This is not a mid-major program, Maryland Eastern Shore. This is a low-major program. They're part of an MTE here, a multi-team event with Arkansas and Little Rock and Illinois. And so that's why if you go look at everybody's schedule, all these teams are playing each other. And the way it's just it's a unique way that teams are allowed to schedule 31 regular season games instead of 30. And I don't know why they did it this way, but that's just kind of the way it is. And you'll see that they all play each other. Little Rock and Illinois are going to play here soon. Arkansas and Illinois are going to play here soon, and Maryland Eastern Shore and Illinois played over the weekend. So that's where you're at with it. What do we know about these guys? I mean, obviously, this is going to be a game that's a lot more about Arkansas and what we need to see from them to feel a little bit better going in this Illinois game. We'll talk about that plenty here. Maryland Eastern Shore, honestly, I've always known about them because, when I was a youngster, I wonder how many folks remember this, but they used to do the Mountain Dew bottle cap challenges, right? Where if underneath the cap, if you've got the team who wins the national championship, you get a free 20-ounce Mountain Dew, right? And for whatever reason, Maryland Eastern Shore was on my bottle caps all the time. Well, in 2002, Maryland, the Terps, which is Maryland College Park, won the national title. And I knew, okay, that whatever chick was working at the BP gas station in McCrory, Arkansas, had zero chance of being able to distinguish between the two Marylands. So I was drinking free Mountain Dew for like 2 weeks. I kind of feel like I was stealing from them, honestly. I should be ashamed of myself, but I'm not. I'm not at all. So shout out to Maryland Eastern Shore for getting me fueled up on caffeine when I was, 14 years old or whatever. Anyway, it's been tough sledding for Maryland Eastern Shore, especially here recently. I'll get you primed up for them here. I know, the Hogs haven't exactly just blown the doors off of these teams that they've been playing so far. But if they don't do it tonight, it might not ever happen. This is a program, the Hawks, by the way, that went 9-20 last season, finished 347 out of 362 teams at KenPom. This is known as one of the toughest. It's an HBCU. It's known as one of the toughest HBCU jobs in the country because they literally have zero budget. Hence why they're having to play a lot of these bye games, right, to fund the program. And its location out in Princess Anne, Maryland kind of complicates things as well. This is a team that fired their coach in late May this summer, which is very, very late to get into the coaching carousel. And then they hired Cleo Hill out of the Division II ranks in June, which is super, super late. So, like, if you think John Calipari had his work cut out for him with this roster build at Arkansas, this dude had to do it with an even later start, no NIL, at a low major with zero winning tradition. Like, it's tough sledding. And, all things considered, kudos to him for being able to piece together a team here that's been competitive at times and not competitive in others. Their best player is KC Shaw. If you're looking for names to know here, 6'5" guard who came over with the coach. He's averaging 21 a game. He put 21 on Vanderbilt in their opener. Only had 7 on Illinois the other day, but he's getting them shots up. So one to keep an eye on. Evan Johnson, Christopher Flippin. Flippin's the big guy, 6'8", 240. They're the other two double-digit scorers to know for that team right now. They do shoot the three well. nearly 9 made threes per game so far, shooting about 36% as a team. Cardell Ailey, Kyrell Shaw are a couple names to know there in that regard. Guys who are, knocking down multiple threes per game and shooting at a pretty good percentage there. They're 2-6 so far on the season. Little bit misleading there, I would say, because the 2 wins came over Penn State's Schuylkill, which it's a satellite school of Penn State that my Lindenwood teams used to see like at our USCAA national tournaments. And then Gallaudet University, which is a non-scholarship D3. So they haven't beaten a Division I opponent just yet. Vanderbilt beat them by 39. Let's see, Penn out of the Ivy League beat them by 1. So they battled there. Miami of Ohio got them by 18. Old Dominion beat them by 2. So a couple close ones where they've been competitive in there. Murray State beat them by about 20 the other day. And then Illinois beats them 87-40 on Saturday. And UMES was 15 of 68 shooting in that game. 15 of 68. That's horrific. Illinois was 10 of freaking 40 from 3. 10 of 40. And they won this game by 47 points. So I think it kind of tells you what you're getting yourself into here. Right now, Maryland Eastern Shore, they are 358th at KenPom, 348th in offensive efficiency, 358th in defensive efficiency. They're allowing 63.3% shooting inside the arc, which is nasty work, allowing 40% of opponent shots to become offensive rebounds. So tough sledding for the fellas there. Let me just get this out of the way now. That way, if I'm like unimpressed or irritable during the Pot at the Palace postgame show tonight, you know why. Like there is zero excuse whatsoever for this to be a 40-minute competitive basketball game tonight. It's just not. I don't care if Arkansas plays with 4. I don't care if they play the 5 walk-ons at the end of the bench. Just kind of the reality of what you're facing here. Respect all opponents, but also do your job. Come out ready to play and be focused on yourself and making improvements. And there's really no reason why this shouldn't be a win going away for Arkansas. As for the Razorbacks, had a couple sources tell me the potential is there for a Trevin Brazile return tonight. So we'll see about that. I know that they don't need him in this game. So I guess you got to kind of figure out, is it worth it to try to shake off some rust and kind of get his legs back underneath him before the Illinois game on Thursday? I say yes. And so hopefully we see that. Time will tell. Like I don't know for certain there. As for Jonas Adu, I'm told he's closer to a return. As of this recording, I'm not sure if we're going to see him or not. And honestly, for me, it's not even about whether or not Jonas Adu is back out there. It's whether or not he looks like the Jonas Adu we saw in games a couple weeks ago, or the Jonas Adu that was at Tennessee last year. Because if you're not getting the guy from last year, or not getting a guy that just looks like he's healthy and able to function out on the floor, keep resting him until he gets there. And even if that means you don't have him for Illinois and some of these other teams, fine. But you got to get the best version out of him. And, Cal said he's 70-75% when he was playing those few games there. And he looked like 70-75% of himself to me. So hopefully, all jokes aside, like he has made enough progress to where he can get out there. And I know he's frustrated and wants to be able to contribute to this team. And Arkansas certainly needs him. Let's see. What do we need to see from Arkansas that would have us feeling confident heading into this Illinois game, outside of having like your full rotation available? Tops for me, it's pretty obvious. Like, let's see the ball go in the hole for John L. Davis, right? I don't care if it takes him 25 shots in this game. Find it, right? Like, I know people are maybe irritated or concerned or thinking, is he a bust? What's going on? No, I'm nowhere close to that yet. I'm really not. He didn't forget how to play basketball, and someone as efficient as he's been, with as much success as he's had for as long as he's been doing it, they don't just lose it, right? Like he's got to get right physically, and get out of his own head. We can all agree with that. And it's been underwhelming so far. And it needs to happen soon. All those things are true, but it's still there. This is not, a tiny Chris Likes who was just an inefficient chucker transferring over and it not working out. This is not, some of these mid-major guys who are, scoring 20 points per game in some league, but they're doing it on 38% shooting from the field. And then you wonder why it's not translating over. No. This is a guy who's played in a very successful winning program. He's been one of the most efficient players in college basketball the last few years. And he's got a large sample size against high major quality competition where he's been dominant. It's there. He's just got to find it. And Arkansas needs it to happen soon. What else? Hey, I want to see Carter Knox chucking it again. Yeah, I said it. Haters, you heard me. Obviously, I'm a Carter Knox guy. I really like him. I think he's going to be a good player for Arkansas. I get it, from that game the other day. Here's my thought. Okay, and I know I've already shared it before. Arkansas needs these guys playing with confidence if they're going to be on the floor. And John L. Davis and Carter Knox are the two guys who have kind of stood out to me so far in that regard. I rewatched the game. Like, you might be able to talk me into 2 of Carter's shots against Little Rock being like bad ones. For the most part, he was wide open, or he was creating looks and getting to that floater. Wide open catch and shoot threes. Carter Knox needs to be taking them. Does he need to make them? Yes, absolutely, 100%. You're going to get no argument out of me. It's got to be way better than it has been. But you don't just want to red light the guy. That's crazy. The floaters, the layups, the getting to the rim stuff that was just coming up short, falling short. He's got to be able to take those and make those. I get it. It's like, you need more production, but doing the thing where it's like, hey, this dude doesn't need to be shooting the ball. He doesn't need to play it. No. Like, it's way too early for that. I think I understand when people get a little bit frustrated, but at the same time, we are 5 games into this thing, and it's been wonky from start to finish with injuries, guys in and out, people who, weren't practicing in the preseason are now being relied on in the games. And then guys who you thought you're going to be able to count on haven't been able to play. It's been weird. So it's going to take time for them to figure it out. And everybody's got to, they take their own time to kind of settle into their roles and figure out what those are going to be. Here's the thing with Carter Knox for me. This is a dude who led the EYBL in scoring 3 years in a row, right? You don't just do that if you can't score, if you can't make a shot. That it's kind of the same way I feel about John L. Davis, just maybe not as strong of an opinion on Carter as John L. But we're coming off a game here where he had he's coming off the dislocated finger. He's got his fingers taped together. I'm sure that impacted things a little bit. So we can question whether or not that was the game he needed to take a dozen shots. But it does factor into there. Like, if we're going to point out that John L. Davis is coming off of a wrist and that could be impacting his jumper, then we have to account for, Carter Knox and his fingers there. Whatever. We'll see. But he needs to get it going too. He doesn't, like, Arkansas needs John L. Davis to be one of their best players. Arkansas just needs Carter Knox to be a functional piece of the rotation out there who can come in and provide some scoring pop off the bench. That's what they need from him. So you're looking for different things there. Cut the turnovers in half. What are we doing? 19 turnovers against Little Rock. That was absurd. Don't play with your food for once, right? Like, dig the hole and then bury your opponent in it for a change. That would be good to see. And I think with that, it just comes with like consistent energy and effort and focus, like all 3 of those things over the course of a 40-minute game. There's not going to be a big crowd for this one. There's just not, and I'm not expecting it. I'm not going to heat people up about it. It's Maryland Eastern Shore. It's a Monday. It's a holiday week. Students are going to be gone. I think, like, I get it, whatever. I thought the crowd was a lot better against Little Rock. Anyway, my point is, like, you're not going to be able to feed off the energy that the building provides. So you've got to kind of create your own and feed off of each other. No lazy starts, no second half lulls because you're tired. Like, it's at some point we've got to get past that part of it with the fatigue. Make some threes. Yeah, like, sure, you want to see that, but just feast around the rim. I mean, Maryland Eastern Shore has offered just 0 resistance in there this season in the paint. Arkansas should be able to dominate in the lane, be aggressive on the offensive glass, whether you're a bigs player or not. I think this is a game where you can take some chances to try to get in there and get some second chance opportunities. Maybe let's see somebody besides Boogie and Thero lead the team in scoring, right? I mean, we know those guys are good, but at some point here, one of them is going to have an off night. Who's going to step up? DJ Wagner's been really good lately. Big Z has shown that he's capable of providing some punch in there. I'd like to see him eat a little bit around the rim and help him out a little bit with the pass. He doesn't have the strongest hands in there, but let's think about how we need to deliver post entries to a guy who's 7'2", so like get it up there where he can go over the top for some easier finishes. But I'd really like to see him just kind of attack the backboards a little bit more, right? I mean, I get it. That's not going to be his strong suit. It's just not the type of player he is necessarily. But if you're going to be 7'2" and you're playing 25 the 30 minutes a game, you got to get more than 3 rebounds, especially defensive boards. So I would like to see that from him as well there. But yeah, it's just it's like we say in the title here, it's a tune-up for Arkansas, right? It's like tighten some things up, work out a few of the kinks, and just we want to have a feel-good post-game show, I think is what we're looking for here. Arkansas did what they needed to do, a convincing win, nothing silly, didn't play with their food, and now, all right, on to Illinois. Things get real. We'll see if that's what we're talking about this evening. Make sure you tune in to the Pot the Palace post-game show, and make sure you get subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube page if you haven't done that already. It's Curtis Wilkerson. This has been the Pot the Palace, Inside Arkansas. We'll be back this evening. Everybody have a good one. Looking forward to it.